Hey, hey.
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 Do whatever you want to.
I know that's right.
On a Tuesday at 7 o'clock, girl.
Happy Tuesday,
Hey.
January 25th,
I know that's
2022.
right. I want to welcome everybody to Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Facebook Live, YouTube, Spreaker, and streaming on most major. Girl, you have to watch what you say in front of these iPhones. You know that doggone Siri.
Oh, yeah. You know what? I don't even say her name. And the other one that begins with the A, which I won't say her name either.
Don't eat, girl, don't. Let me turn this thing off right now. I'm trying to turn them off because you have to watch what you say. But anyway, back what I was saying. I want to welcome everybody to Rhythm Flow Radio live stream right here on Facebook Live, YouTube, and Spreaker, and streaming over most major streaming apps like iHeart, Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and many, many more. My name is Katie Lowe,
And I'm Opinionated Lorie.
and the name of the show is
Opinions, because they're what?
Opinions Are Like Assholes. Everybody got one.
That's right. That's right.
So, girl, how are you? How are you?
Oh man, you know what? I am doing well. Today I had to go and pick up my car. This
Hmm.
winter weather here in Chicago is makes it necessary to have all the working parts, and I needed a new tire, so I had to get two tires. Ended up costing me $380. Well, that included my oil change. Did an oil change too, so I'm ready to take on that weather.
I know that's right. Well, girl, listen, talking about tires, girl, I got blessed
What?
with a whole truck.
A whole truck? Oh my goodness!
Girl, with a whole, listen, woo, sometimes I have to pinch myself, and sometimes I just have to go take a shower. I have to make sure that I'm still living.
Wow.
I don't brag on my family, but I'm gonna tell you something.
Uh
Ain't nothing,
oh.
listen, ain't nothing like family. There's nothing like family.
Yep.
I'm serious. There is
Hmm.
nothing like you don't get along with family all the time. I'm gonna wipe my screen off there. You don't get along with family all the time. Every family has its ups and downs.
Yes,
You
true.
know, every family has its problems. But when the times for family to come together, they can come together.
That's
And
very
I
true.
gotta say that I don't know, my family, they just, I don't know, they just special. They are very special. And I can always say are definitely in my corner. I can talk to them about anything, anything. Sometimes I just think they don't be listening, but they do.
Hmm.
But they bless me.
Especially the young ones. You think they're not listening, and they say something that, oh, wow, they were listening
They,
after all.
they can say it back verbatim. They'll tell you,
Hmm.
no, you didn't say it like that. This is the
That's
way you
right.
said it. But I got blessed. It's not a brand new truck, not like a 2022,
Okay.
but I got blessed with a truck.
Wow. Well, I don't care if it's a 1952. It's still,
And I
long
just
as it
can't.
works.
Oh, girl, listen. It's a nice looking truck. And all
Wow.
I've got to do is go and drive it back to Chicago.
Okay. So where you headed to then to pick it up?
I'm gonna go to Arkansas, down to Little Rock. I'm going
Oh,
home.
that's right. We both have people down in Arkansas.
Yeah, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
to Arkansas and I'm gonna drive it back to Chicago. And it's such a blessing because not only is it gonna bless me, it's gonna help my sister, my nieces, my nephew, because when you have some property and you have to go out and you have to replace a toilet, a hot water heater, a hot
Mm-hmm.
water, a furnace, anything. When
Oh, absolutely.
you got this old raggedy property and you have to, buy stuff for it. Either you have to have somebody to deliver it, or you
Yep.
have to go and rent a truck.
Very true. And I've been in that position many times as a new property owner. So yeah,
Okay,
that's a beautiful thing. A
so
truck is a gift that keeps on giving.
I'm trying to tell you, so I have been blessed, and I'm gonna tell you something, girl. I couldn't even. When I found out I had been blessed, I didn't even sleep that night. I watched
Oh my
TV all,
goodness.
girl. I watched TV all night long. I had to make sure I wasn't dreaming.
Make sure you didn't you hadn't gone to glory, as they say,
Girl,
as the old folks used to say back in the day.
I know I'm out of this dream when I go and get it and drive it back to Chicago. Because I think I'm still dreaming.
Wow,
Like
that's beautiful.
once I saw the truck and how nice it was, I was saying, Lord, this has got to be a dream, you
Wow.
know? But hey,
Well,
we,
you'll have to show our viewers and well the listeners they'll miss out on the podcast, but you'll have to show us a picture of you driving the truck.
girl, I'm going to do a live on my way back.
There you go.
But I mean, it's just, you know what? I think about Black History Month is coming up
Yep, it
next
sure
month, February.
coming up February. And let me just do this little pub.
Hmm.
We're gonna have a 4-part series for Black History Month, and what we're gonna really be focusing on is Chicago and the Great Migration, and basically how the city of Chicago was shaped by the Great Migration of African Americans from the South, all the way up through the North and various cities. But we're gonna really take a focused approach on Chicago because hey, that's where we are, and we want to just kind of see and explore how our city developed. And we'll have a couple of guests to talk about it. We'll talk about various issues uh, that are affecting African Americans in the city and at the city at large. And we're going to talk about not just problems and issues. We're going to talk about the good things that are happening, and then also just how can we forge a path for the future. So it's going to be very exciting shows. Hopefully you'll tune in on Tuesdays, every Tuesday of the month of February.
All right. All right. I was going to say that because we're going into Black history, and we are African Americans, we are Black, we are, girl, listen, they've called us
Whatever
so
you want to
many.
call it.
Girl, I mean, they called us so many different things, I mean,
Absolutely.
there was a time when we were niggers, and then
Yep.
now we were Black.
Yep.
Now we were colored.
Right. And
I
you know
think,
what though, the funny thing about it is that so my father, he was born in 1905. He's
okay.
from Macon, Mississippi.
Mhm,
And back then, if you called someone Black, so
mhm.
we're talking about, well, so he's 1905, let's say 1915, 20s. If you said Black, those are,
I can't.
so the term was Negro.
Mhm.
And nowadays, if you use the term Negro, those are probably fighting words.
Well, I
So
was trying to
it
think
just
now. My
changes.
father, I think my father was born back in 1916, July 4th, 1916. And I was I can't pull it up right now, but I think on his birth
I
certificate,
can't hear your audio, Katie. Can you hear me?
you can't hear my audio? Hold on. Hold on. Okay, we're having an audio problem. Let us sign off and sign back on. I think she signed off and she's gonna sign back on because we're having a slight audio problem and we want to make sure that we get this right because we're gonna talk about Black History Month. Okay, here she comes back.
Oh, sorry about that. I don't know
You
what
hear me
happened. I think
now?
we had a technical glitch.
Okay. I
So
was gonna say, I
I
was
think
gonna say
I don't
my
know how much of that you heard, but yeah, we're just talking
mhm,
about what we're called, what we self-identify with. At one time it was Black, it was Negro, it was Afro American, and now it's African American. At one time it was people of color, which I don't particularly like that because it doesn't really um, speak to our Africanness that have in our blood. So that can be pretty much anyone.
well, you know what? I was thinking I think my father was born like July 4th, 1916. And I don't have his document, but I do have it somewhere. And I believe that on his document, it listed him as either black or colored.
Mm.
And I was saying that we have been labeled as so many different things, like as I mean, do you know that at one time that we were labeled as nigger?
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah. And then we were labeled as black, and then we were labeled as colored. Okay.
Yep.
So they called us everything.
Mm-hmm.
And then we were labeled as Negroes. And then they came up with this new thing, people of color being African Americans.
Yep. Or first it was Afro American, but then they
Okay.
said it African American.
And my thing is, I have a brother that really studies the Bible, and he can really blow your mind. So, myself, I don't identify with African American
You
because
do not
I could be
identify. Okay.
an Egyptian.
Okay,
I
but
could.
they're still African though. They're from the continent.
That's what I'm telling you. That's
Right.
just what I'm telling you.
Okay.
Okay. I don't have to be with what the United States label me as. Okay. Africa is a huge continent.
Absolutely.
Okay. And it's and until it's the people until it started to break up, like they'll tell you that Egypt is not on the continent of Africa. Yes, it is.
Right. Well,
And
all
there
we have to
are
do is look at a map to see that, right?
That's
But
right. And there are a lot of other countries that are on that continent of Africa
mm-hmm.
that say that they aren't. So we can be anything. We don't have to be African American.
Have you
We
done the
can.
ancestry DNA or any of the DNA tests?
No, I haven't, but I'm just not going to let them label me because let me tell you something. There is something that is in my history that is on fire. That's kept a secret. And why?
Mm.
Because I don't want to get up in the Bible because I can't quote it real good. I'm just telling you some of the things that I've read about some of the gods. Okay. And I mean, they were very important people back then, and they were not what we see on this TV. It's
Right.
just like when they showed us what was it, Nefertiti, not too long ago. They bought the
Mm.
bust out on Good Morning America, and everybody like to fell out
Now
because
here, now here's where I have a contention. One thing I noticed is, whatever we want to call ourselves, African American, we always want to point towards Egypt as if Egypt was the only sort of society in the continent. I mean, for me, the jury is out. I think just based on what I've seen, they probably were more kind of look more mulatto as far as the racially. But we can't forget that there were sub-Saharan African societies, like Songhai is one of them that I can think of offhand, that were black. I mean, they were black like us, black people, and they had major societies and dynasties even. So I think that we need to probably open our scope, and even looking at Western Africa, because just based on, the slave trade and all the records, I mean, we clearly come from West Africa. I did the ancestry DNA, and it said that I'm mostly Nigerian and Cameroon, and I think got a little bit Ghana, but that's all West Africa. So, and I also want to point out, African Americans are always saying, "Oh, I have Indian blood." Well, I can report that I have absolutely zero Native American blood. And what people are thinking is Native American is more than likely European, because I do have about 22% European. So that's usually what it is. I mean, not to say that, there are no African Americans that have, Native American, but it's not as, prevalent as we would like to think. It's
I
usually
wish I could get
European.
my brothers. Hopefully, I'm gonna see if I can get him to come on here and really talk about who we are as a people. He lives in Little Rock, and
Okay.
when I tell you he studies, because he said it is important that we know our history.
Right.
He said
Absolutely.
it will make us a better people. And
Yep.
he always tell me, he said, don't let people label you and tell you that you are what they want you to be. Tell them no.
Right.
I'm not gonna let you put me in a pot and label me.
Right. And you
He
know what,
said, you
though,
don't.
here's the other thing I would like to challenge is that I think that, I mean, some of us, we like to look at the past, which I think it's very important to understand where we came from. But I
Yeah,
think what's even more important is where we're going, and making that path for the future. So, and just like the past doesn't define, I mean, we can take slavery that happened, we can take, okay, we did come from dynasties, in antiquity, but that still doesn't define who we are. What we're doing right now, and the path that we're making for the future, and the legacy that we're making for all the people that are going to come after us, to me, where we should have our focus as a people. And from what I'm seeing that's happening in these streets lately is not a very promising
right.
kind of view of what's going to happen. But not to stay in the negative, I think that shows like ours, we can be part of that, as far as just helping the future, and kind of paving the way for the youth.
Well, we only see the society that we live in. They only paint the negative part of, of us.
Right.
Anything negative they want to show.
Right.
But listen, there is so many good things that are happening that you will never know about because they're not gonna blow that up.
But let me ask you this question:
Mhm.
how much of that do we kind of buy into that, or not buy into it, but help perpetuate that sort of thing? Reason I ask you that question before you answer it is, some of these, let's say, rappers and rap videos and all that. A lot of the kids that buy this music, and I'm calling
Mhm.
them kids, but these young people that buy this rap music, a lot of them are not even African American. A lot of them are Caucasian, Latino. They're the ones buying a lot of it. And of course, we buy it as well. But so it's kind of like giving the people what they want. They expect that sort of this rap, trap, whatever you want to call the kind of music, which has some very, very negative stereotypes in it. So we're buying into that whole thing, and we're perpetuating that. So it's kind of like, I feel like we are kind of contributing to our own detriment, and our own, the way people are viewing us as a group.
But what about the young people that don't sing that music? We
Oh,
got
absolutely.
we
Yep.
got some young people. Girl, they don't even sing rap music. Listen, honey, we got some young people that are so spiritual. We got some
Yep.
young people that sing jazz music. We
Oh,
got some young
definitely.
people that sing classical music. All our young people don't sing uh what kind of they
Well,
call it now
rap.
Ron has a name for it. He called it
is it called trap? They call it trap, or we need, you know what? We
Trap
need a young
music,
person to
drill
come on
music,
here and tell us about
drill music, drill
what's it called?
music,
Oh, drill.
drill music.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's
all
yeah,
of them don't,
Chicago drill.
all of them don't sing that.
Oh, that's
But
true.
those kids, or those young people, sing that alternative music and not that trap or drill music.
Mm.
They don't play them on the radio.
Right.
They
They
don't
may
put
not
them
play
out
them,
front.
but even
They
just
don't.
let's, I mean, drill is kind of like one extreme, but even let's say what was that guy's name that was it Travis Scott, the one that I mean he's not a drill artist, but he's definitely a rap artist, the one that there was that stampede or something like that, and a lot of people got, unfortunately, were killed in that. But you know, a lot of just teenagers and a lot of 20 somethings, they really love that sort of music, and even though it's not drill, it still is kind of perpetuating a certain culture, almost a caricature of what they think African American culture is, and it's kind of disgusting in a way. I mean, not in a way, it's very disgusting. And to your point, Katie, you're absolutely right. I mean, there's so many people that are. I went to a concert a couple of months ago. There was a young man, and I forget his name. I'll put it on our site once I remember what it is. But anyway, it was a blues festival, and it was a young man, like maybe 25, 26 years old, played the blues guitar. He was opening up for Bobby Rush. It was a Bobby Rush concert. It was at University of Chicago.
Was he kind of heavy
And
set?
I'm sorry.
Was he kind of heavy set young man?
Yes, heavy set young man. Yep.
I know who you're
Yep.
talking about.
Very talented. And there's
Hmm.
more people like him. So I say that to say you're absolutely right. I think as Black people, we can do more to promote an alternative image of us, because here's the other thing is that we are not a caricature as a group. And we're not a monolith. I mean, there's this I think a lot of and probably maybe well-meaning people of other colors or cultures, um, they have a tendency to kind of put us in a box and think that they know who we are, what we're about. But just like any other group, there's so many different aspects to us, so many different interests and talents and all of that. So it's so important that we put those images. And I think that our platform is excellent because that's what our plan is to do, is to kind of feature more people. And actually in Rhythm Flow, just shout out to you, Katie. Rhythm Flow, I mean, you've done an excellent job of producing so many different shows on here. In the basement with Macklemore, so many different interviews that Bryant has done, from artists to musicians to just, I mean, some of everything. And then the other show, and pardon me for forgetting the man's name, on Friday nights as well. He brings another aspect to the station. So
A conversation with Brother Raymond.
yes, conversations with Raymond, absolutely. So this. I think we're, not to toot our own horn, but I mean, I think that this is kind of like what needs to happen. Our independent voices need to rise up and start presenting this instead of having mainstream or even mainstream news. I mean, I do partake in some of it. I like to watch different alternative news as well, but we need to start writing our own story instead of having someone else write it for us.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Another thing about doing different shows. Sometimes when you get approached, it used to be I just love to do the show on Tuesday. I didn't care about anything else. But then I started getting approached. Oh, can you do my show? And I was like, well, I just like doing, my show on Tuesday. That's all I would want to do. And then I started doing the show with Brian and Lady Petite and then other people. And I kind of started liking it. Then, I'm not going to lie, financially, it got to be kind of nice.
That's always
Okay.
a good help, right?
Right. And then, it gave me an opportunity to, es- excuse me, especially during COVID, it gave me an opportunity to get busy and keep busy. And it gave me an
Mhm.
opportunity to explore my own self, you know?
Yeah.
It gave me the opportunity to keep busy, to read. And I don't know, it's COVID can be a dangerous thing when you sit in the house and you're by yourself, and I live alone, me and puppy. And if you don't keep your head straight, COVID can be a very lonely thing.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh,
I know that there was the actress Regina King. I don't know if you heard about this a couple days ago. Her son committed suicide, 26 years old. And then there was another actor as well. I think that happened yesterday. His son committed suicide. So we live in magical times where a lot of great things are possible. But
mhm.
the downside of the times that we live in is that sometimes, even because of social media, I think sometimes people feeling like that they don't measure up, they compare themselves to other people. We live in a very lonely time as well. So um yeah, but yeah, I think that it's good to have, just like you said, having this station, just being able to kind of reach out. And um we met through this, as far as like, through Bryant
Absolutely.
and the show and all that. So yeah, it's a beautiful thing.
It is. And you know what? It's during COVID, it became educational for me. Just
Yep.
like you turned me on to a topic today that I never knew about.
Yes,
So
yes. So our topic for today has to do with, I was reading on, I like to go to WBZ website. They have some really good articles. I mean, they have a podcast, but I really read their articles. And something really interesting that I had sort of heard about it maybe a few months ago, but it has to do with properties that have these race, what they call their covenants on them. And essentially, they're these racist language that's on the deed stating who can live there and who cannot live there. And the fascinating, and well, I'm saying fascinating, but it's really disgustingly fascinating, is that there is actually, in the city of Mundelein, there was a property there that actually had that. And I'm just going to read this is from the WBZ website. And it says, Chicago also was home to one of the earliest landmark restrictive covenant cases in the country, Hansberry versus Lee. Carl Hansberry, a black real estate broker and father of playwright Lorraine Hansberry, bought a home in the all-white Woodlawn neighborhood in the city's south side in 1937. After a neighbor objected, the case went to court, ultimately ending up before the U.S. Supreme Court. And Hansberry prevailed. The 1940 decision eventually led to the demise of the racist legal tool by encouraging more legal challenges against racial covenants. The family never returned to the three-story brick home, now known as the Lorraine Hansberry House, and that's over on, I can't remember, I think it's 60th, I think it's in Woodlawn. And it says, and renters are now occupying the rundown property, which is very ironic that that happened. But the city did designate it as a landmark in 2010. So that happened in the city, within the city boundaries, 1937. But the other amazing issue is that there was a woman that purchased a home in Mundelein,
mhm.
and which is a little bit north of Chicago, probably about 40 miles north of the city of Chicago. And the records on her deed, it said no Jews, blacks, Chinese, or Japanese allowed. And she was
Now, is
just this.
that to buy the property or to live in it? It's
That
both,
was
huh?
that was on the deed. So to be right, so whether you were renting or owning it, or even as a renter, those groups were not permitted. And this is something that's very, very common, not just here in Chicago, but on a lot of these deeds from older cities. There's one also. I saw one here from. It says the Greaterville in St. Louis, and this is a restriction that was placed in 1911, and it's still on the deed. It says, no part of said property nor any portion thereof shall be said terms of 50 years occupied by any person not of the Caucasian race. It is being intended thereby to restrict the use of the said property for said period of time against the occupancy of owners or tenants of any portion of said property for residence or other purpose by people of the Negro or Negro or Mongolian race. So basically, no black people and no Asians. So that was in 1911. So it's just, it blows my mind that these are still on there. So now in Mundelein, like I said, there are some, I think there's some other cities in Illinois that still have it. There's a woman that she actually went through the trouble of removing this language from her deed. So that is something that you can do for the low price of $10. You can have your deed amended if you have any sort of covenant on there that you want to change, any sort of restrictive racist covenant on there. But it just blows my mind that in 2020 that this stuff still is lingering around.
Blow your mind. So who do you think created such a covenant?
Who do I think? Well, the people that lived back then, the power brokers.
Who were they?
Oh, well, the majority. It was, of course, Caucasians that did that.
Where'd they come from?
Where did they come from? I have no idea.
Yeah, you do. They discovered America.
Oh, well, I mean, that's the whole history of this place. So we
doggone Europeans.
Right, absolutely. Yep. So, not to say that all Europeans are bad, because we know that they are.
I am not saying that. I'm saying the language.
Right. Oh yeah. Well, I mean, that's kind of a given. But yeah, so it's crazy to even, I had no idea that those. So immediately once I read about that, I said, let me check my deed, and I didn't see anything of there. But I think that I read that about the Lorraine Hansberry house and that particular case. I think that they took that out of there for City of Chicago. So it's I don't think there was that issue, but the surrounding suburbs, Mundelein being one, even where I live here in Berwyn and Cicero. Although they didn't have any written restrictive covenant, there were these sundown rules that by sundown, if you were black, you better be out of town, because the police did not treat us very kindly back in those times. So
let me say this. I used to drive a bus on 47th Street. We went from 47th to Lake Park all the way to 47th, and we're really to Archer and Cicero. It would go 47th all the way to 47th and Cicero. And then when it got to 47th and Cicero, the bus would turn left and go over to Archer, and that would be the rest point. And then you would turn around and get back on your route. And around 47th, somewhere near California, maybe west of California, there was an African-American man who lived in that area. And I had the opportunity to talk to him. He had lived there for years.
Now, what area is that called?
I don't know what that area is. It's like 47th in California. Well, 47th in California. I don't think that's the Marquette Park area.
Oh, Brighton Park, I think that is.
This man had lived there for years.
Okay. Yeah, it's Brighton Park.
He told me, he said that he had lived there for years. And he said at one time there were other black families who had lived there. Because, I mean, right down the street, 47th Street, you go to 67th Street, you in Marquette Park.
So let me ask you, so at that time when you were there, what, first of all, what year was it? And what was the majority racial?
1976.
76. And who lived there at that time?
Wait a minute, this is why I'm telling you, he was black and he lived there in 1977. In 1977 is when I had my first experience with real racism.
But okay, but when he lived there in 76, was he the only black person that lived there?
He's the only one I'd ever encountered living over there.
Oh, okay, so it was majority white at that time, which now is
Right.
majority Hispanic.
Okay, but let me say this. And when I saw him, I had an encounter driving the California bus once because I had to work, new operator, you have to work, you work nights and then you build your seniority up where you can work days. So I had built up the seniority and I was working California this particular time and I was sitting in Market Park getting ready to make at the end of the line, waiting to make my trip back northbound.
And then, just so people
And
know
girl,
on the
all these
podcast,
people
Marquette
started
Park is a majority white, was a majority white neighborhood,
yeah,
Polish.
but listen,
Okay.
all these people started coming out with these white robes on, and they had parked they had these horses all around the park.
So the Ku Klux Klan came out.
Girl, I like to tell myself, I had never seen that in
Oh
all
my
my
goodness
life,
gracious.
and I'm from Arkansas.
Oh wow.
So I called the control center because nobody told me when I pulled that bus out of Archer Garage that morning.
Right.
So I'm asking this lady, I said, what's going on over there? She said, oh, honey, they're just having a parade for the children. Girl, it didn't look like no parade to me.
So do they have the pointed hats and everything?
Girl, yeah. Listen,
oh my goodness.
I had never drove a bus so fast in my life.
Oh
The
my
control
goodness.
center didn't answer fast enough, and I got the hell out from down there. I took that bus to Archer Garage. Girl, I probably was speaking in every kind of tongue but the right kind. And I
Oh
bet
my
you I didn't go
goodness.
back. I couldn't go back out that day. I was so scared. They told me to go home with pay.
Oh wow. So
I
what
mean,
about the other black operators? What did they bus operators, were
I
they?
wasn't concerned about them. Girl, listen, I was so amazed. I was concerned about myself. You know what? It didn't even come to my head to be concerned about them. All I wanted
Wow.
to do was get the hell out from down there and get home.
Self-preservation, right?
I'm serious,
Oh my
but
goodness gracious.
I'm from the South. I had never seen that down south, never.
Oh my gosh.
And this was in the daytime.
Wow.
Okay.
So what happened the next day when you went back? I mean, were you
Well,
scared? Were
I
you?
was off for about 3 or 4 days, girl. I had to get my nerves together.
Oh my goodness
That
gracious.
you just don't listen.
You weren't expecting to see that here in
No, I
Chicago.
don't, and I know the story. Once you hear those stories about the Klan, and you know
Mm,
what they do. I mean, just 20 years before that, they had killed Emmett Till.
right. And also, so okay, so this happened in 76. That wasn't really long after
77.
Dr. King.
77. I'm sorry.
77. Okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's yeah,
when
that's amazing.
we oh, let me see if we have to come in. So I'm telling you to say this. Oh,
So
this is
now fast forward to 2022,
yeah.
the whole racial makeup of the city is it's kind of interesting, has changed. Most of the people that lived, let's say, I think they were mostly like a Polish descent. Most of them either passed on and moved to moved out to other suburbs and things like that. And in the meantime, the Hispanic population has really greatly increased in Chicago. And as we talked about last week, a lot of African Americans have left the city because our population is starting to
Um,
diminish here.
not only cities, the country itself. This country is so polarizing. It all starts from Washington. The polarization starts in Washington. Oh, we done lost her. But anyway, I'm going to say this: the polarization of America. It starts in Washington. It starts in our government. What we see happening in our government. Okay, the polarization of our country starts in Washington. It starts right up there in that White House. I don't mean in the White House. Well, you know what I mean. In Congress, in the Senate. Okay, starts with those branches. We see all this bickering, all this hatred. It has never gone anywhere. And as long as we have people serving in office who've been there before the computer, we'll always have problems. That's where the racism, as long as that racism is there, we'll never be able to get rid of it because it keeps manifesting itself. Some old heads, they're teaching their children that. And their children are teaching their children that. And we will never,
I think it's rooted in as far as economics as well.
It's rooted in the DNA of America.
Right. And just economically speaking, I mean, if you're, I mean, we are in a society that is, consumer based and we capitalistic. So in capitalism, the way capitalism functions, and that's one reason that, the slaves were freed, is that you always have to have, there's always has to be an underclass. And that underclass, they're basically the ones that do all the work. And then you have the upper class that are kind of receiving the fruits of the underclass's labor. I mean, that's just kind of like how it's designed. So, and a lot of people want to, I don't want to go on a whole spiel about just other forms of government, but you have to look at it. We have to figure out how can we exist and make sure that everyone receives what they're due as a human being, that they should have, health care. And to me, that should be a right. How do we balance that with also being financially, strong as a country? And I just think we've done a terrible job of it. It's a shame that you have people living in the streets and that people that have to, choose between, paying for, let's say, diabetes medication and food on the table. That's just
even just paying for health care. Listen,
absolutely.
As a single payer for health care, and I'm a senior citizen, so I get some Medicare.
Right.
I got somebody to pay 80% of the bill, but that other 20%. Girl, I had to get out of some insurance that I had been in since 99.
Oh my goodness gracious.
The insurance was girl, I got a, now you get your bill you get that bill, when they're changing the insurance over every year. I'm not going to call the insurance company name, but I got a bill. They say, Miss Lowe, your new premium for February 2022 is now going to be $355. I'm like, what the hell?
Oh my goodness. And that's just Medicare. A shame. That's horrible.
I got Medicare. And I'm paying them $170. Now I'm going to pay you $355 for the 20%. I don't think so.
No. And it makes you, it's like, gosh, then you makes you wonder, like, can you ever retire? Because the bills don't stop. And especially, and of course, the 1%ers, they don't worry about that because they're, financially, stable.
That's right. They're financially stable. They don't have to worry about the little stuff.
Right.
And then the thing about it, before I was a senior and I was a single payer and I was buying healthcare insurance, it was only like about $495. Now I'm a senior, and I've got to listen. You add $355 plus $170. That's over $500 and some for insurance.
Yep, and that's insane.
It is. It really is. So let me tell you, our government, our lawmakers, our officials in Washington, and some of these on the local level, they are all in the bed together.
Yep.
It's saying that when you lay down with the dogs, you wake up with the fleas.
Yep.
They all in the bed together.
Yep.
They are
And
really in
and
the
you know
bed
what though?
together.
I I mean, I think there's a bit of that, but I also think that it seems that once people, when they run and they have a platform and they, they promise a lot, and I think that they mean that when they promise it, but once they get in there and they get a taste of that power and they realize, oh wow, I would like to be able to run again. That's when all hell breaks loose, and that's when they start just kind of doing things under the table and not really caring about what their constituents think. And then all they care about is the next election cycle, which is crazy. And then, like fools, we go ahead and, and vote some of these people in multiple times and they haven't done anything to change things. I mean, like the Danny Davises of the world. I'm sorry, I'm going to call him out. Like the Bobby Rush, who is
Mhm.
finally Bobby Rush, the politician, not the
Yeah,
musician,
yeah.
is he's finally stepping down. But goodness gracious, like what has he done? I mean, you look at the areas that they represent, and especially the impoverished areas. What have they really done to improve it? I mean, I don't see anything. If in fact there's an argument to say that it's gotten even worse, that they've done nothing, and people keep voting for them, or maybe, you know what, maybe people don't vote and then all the right people do vote,
And they
or
get it
the
up and
people,
forget.
I shouldn't say the right people, but the people that are going to get them elected. The turnout is not that great, because you know how it is. It's like, I know what happened with President Obama. All the black people went out, voted for him. We did that, and then we figured, oh, okay, well, we got a black president. We can relax. So we didn't take any of the other election cycles seriously, and then we forgot. Okay, well, the president doesn't make laws. I mean,
But
what about the
Obama
House of
didn't get
Representatives?
elected
What
on the
about
African.
Senate?
Obama did not get elected on the African American vote, honey. There were listen, Obama when he got elected, baby, Obama got elected because the people of the United States of America voted for him. If
Right.
they
Oh,
were not,
absolutely.
yeah,
Right. But
yeah.
my point though is not that
Hmm.
we necessarily elected him. My point
Hmm.
is that we forgot that there are other elections that are equally important, because the president can't do everything, right? But that's why we have a representative type of a government, and why it's really critical. And I think that this is something that they probably need to teach in schools. And I know I didn't learn it in school. I just learned from, following politics, is that your representatives are so important, because those are ones that they're going to Chicago or to DC, and they're representing, Chicago or wherever your local area is, and they're the ones that are going to, bring these urgent issues to them. But if you have someone in there that doesn't give a darn, and they just care about the next elections, so they can collect their wonderful salary and receive their pension, then I mean, what's the use? So it's so important that we recognize that you need to know who these people are that you're voting for, and if they're not helping you, get them
That
the heck out of there.
that's just like what's his name? It's his name Munchkin.
Who is that?
What's his name? I always like, is his name Joe Munchkin? What's his name?
Oh, Mansion.
Man,
Yeah, Mansion, and the other
what's
one,
the
Kirsten
nickname?
Cinema. Those two, they've got to go.
Okay, listen, they are no more Democrats than anything. They
Yep.
are Republicans. Uh,
They're
they ran
dinos.
okay
Democrat in name only. Dinos.
in
Yep.
name only. They're probably some teabaggers, okay,
Yeah. Yep.
and they're in there upsetting everything. One of them that has her state censored her, okay,
Yep.
and the
Yep.
same
Yeah,
thing
that
they
was a
should put
Kirsten
it
Cinema.
no,
Yeah.
okay.
Absolutely.
So I
That's what you
mean,
call a false friend.
you call them a what girl?
A false friend.
Okay. So, when you were talking about the president, yeah, when the president has a Senate and a Congress that doesn't work with him, things go real bad for the country, just like they're doing
Yeah.
now.
But
Just,
see, but that's what people didn't realize. I think a lot of, and if you're not really following it closely, or, if you didn't pay attention in civics class, you don't realize that it's not all about the president. It's about all these other
Right.
officials. And,
Right.
people, you can't complain like, oh, well, this is happening. Okay, well, did you vote? Did you vote for your congressman? Did you vote for your state rep? I mean, even on the state side, you have within the state, you have representatives as well that represent you. Here, like down in for state of Illinois, down in Springfield. So these are all people. And one thing that I started doing is researching judges, because judges, that's another thing. Talking about the criminal justice system, is that know who your judges are and who you're voting for, because some of them are. Oh, I started really researching for the last election, and there's some that I didn't agree to keep them on, and I don't know if it made a difference. Well, I mean, I'm sure it did make a difference, but I think now there's more of an awareness, especially after the Trump years. I think people realize it a little bit more, but I think we need to work on kind of maintaining that and making that a normal, because like what's happening down in Georgia, hopefully. What Sarah Stacey Abrams, I think she's going to run for governor again, and hopefully she'll be able to do it. But with all the gerrymandering, which it's a horrible case of gerrymandering down in Georgia, will she be able to win an election? I don't know.
Well, you know what? I really forgot my thought. I was going to say something.
Stacey Abrams.
No, it was right before Stacey Abrams. I hope it come back.
Yeah, it'll come back.
Yeah, right. When it's so hot on the tip of your tongue and you try to get it off. I can't remember what it was, but
yeah.
I was the judges.
Yep.
The judges are appointed first, right? Am I right?
Yep.
And then they are elected by the people the next time, right?
Yep.
So we have to be very, very, very careful. And then you have to when people warn you about these judges, you need to go read up on them and learn
Absolutely.
about who they are.
Yep.
Because some of them don't have your best interests at hand.
That's true. Okay. And a lot of these politicians, there's a reason that Donald Trump really his followers and he kind of pandered to people that were not as educated, because he's counting on them to not pay attention to what's going on and to just listen to what he says and then vote the way that he says. They're easily manipulated, versus people that are.
Do you know this crazy man is still talking about that theory that they stole the election?
Oh yeah, well he knows that they didn't, but that's what his people want to hear, and that's what like I said, he panders to them. So what do they say? Give the people what they want, and that's what he does. He talks about this controversy. He wants to get them riled up, just like he did on the January 6th insurrection. He just, that's what he does, and that's what he does best. He's a narcissist, so he's willing to go to the ends of the earth to get what he wants, and to hell with anyone else. And that's a dangerous, dangerous person. We have to make sure that we do not repeat that. That's the worst president that we ever had in our history, and that's saying a lot.
Yes, he is, and that's why you know what? I urge everyone. Listen, we're in COVID. And especially if you're a senior like myself, if you have a computer, take time. Do some searching.
Or a smartphone. You don't even have to have a computer. A smartphone is just as powerful.
Do some searching. Find out about your history, about who you are. Don't let anybody put a label on you and tell you who you are. Find out who you are for yourself. Don't take labels. Just because your skin is dark, that don't mean nothing. You could be a queen. You may be a queen.
Yeah.
Okay? Put that handle on you. Put that handle on you and wear it well.
Yep.
Do not allow people to throw you in a bushel with everybody else. You are so much more than that.
That is
Take
so true.
time and study and find out who you are and where
Who
you're
you
going.
are, and most importantly, where are you going?
That's right. That is so true.
Yep.
And you know what? If there's anybody listening and you know somebody that has some knowledge about ancestry, have them to give us a call at
What's that
two
number?
two four 484 0962 because we would like to invite them to be a part of opinions. And you can be a part of opinions too. You can either dial in on that number next week now, because the show is
Yep.
almost over, or you can always ask us for a link and join us right here on the screen.
And
And
don't
if you
forget, next week starts our series for Black
that's
History
right.
Month, 4-part series on the Great Migration,
And if
Destination Chicago.
and if you are a property owner, I want you to go look at your deed.
Yeah,
And
go check that deed out.
check
Make
your
sure.
deed. You might see something that you can't even own your home on there.
Yeah, right.
And
Exactly.
you
I
paying
bet
the
maybe I'm gonna
mortgage
double check
company.
mine just in
It might
case,
tell you
Katie.
that you can't even live in your house and you're paying the mortgage company.
Right.
That's terrible.
Yeah.
But you know what? That's a part of segregation.
Yep.
It is.
Yep.
You always think about when you move in if you move in a neighborhood where that is non-black, you look around and all the neighbors move out.
Yep. Well, that's, I mean, and actually that's kind of like what's happening now. With a lot of neighborhoods in Chicago, and even like with like Berwyn and Cicero that happened. There's white flight that happened in both of these towns. Like I said, I live in Berwyn,
Hmm.
and I know that Cicero, I want to say, is about 80% Hispanic, as of what this year, 2022. I think back in like 1990 or even like 2000, it was probably like 50%, let's say. So it's just it's white flight is what happens. So, which, and I don't know. I mean, is white flight a good thing or a bad thing, or does it have to be a bad thing? Right. That's, I mean, that could be something we could talk about on another show. What
Well, I'm
the whole
like this,
concept of
honey.
gentrification. I mean, do white people necessarily make a neighborhood good? Because that's sort of like when you say gentrification, it's kind of like
No,
what
they
it
don't. No,
implies.
they don't.
No,
No,
I'm
they
just
don't.
saying though,
No, they don't.
but
No, they don't.
when they
No,
say
they
no,
don't.
I know, I hear you, but I'm saying though, gentrification, when they talk about that, that's usually what's meant by it.
I know it. But see, if you put that in your head, okay, and that's the stigma.
Right. Yep.
The stigma.
Yep. Which kind of
And listen, it's not all white people that are like that, and it's not all black people that are like
right.
that. Okay.
Yep. Or here's another thing too, and when we say white people, I think we should specify, because, just like black people are not a monolith, white people are not a monolith either. You have different, socioeconomic groups among, Caucasian Americans as well. So, I think when they talk about, we probably should be more specific when we say like gentrification, and you say Caucasian, Americans, you could say Caucasian Americans of a certain income level is is quote unquote needed for gentrification. But who says it has to be that way? Why can't you have people that are, all Latino or all black, that are in a neighborhood of a certain income level?
Why you can't say like what is that? Not It's not Rogers Park. It's another little. Is it Bucktown?
Bucktown.
Okay, that's an area that they totally. I can't compare Bucktown to Skid Row, but you
Hmm.
remember when Oprah bought Skid Row and Skid Row did a
Right.
360
Oh well, but the Bucktown used to. I remember I lived over in Bucktown when they were still. Well, they're starting to shoot again now. That's a whole different story. But I was living over there when they were Latin Kings, over in
Okay, well, you know,
Bucktown.
Bucktown uh, became. I mean, it it just the rent shot up, the area
Oh yeah,
shot
but it's
up.
quite rough before though, and I'm gonna
Yeah,
say
but they
like it
built a
started
lot of
getting better the mid
condos.
'90s.
They
Mm-hmm.
built a lot of condos, a lot of
Yep.
this, especially like that North Avenue Milwaukee thing where
Right. Wicker Park.
yeah, I
Yep.
mean, and it
Logan
hey,
Square, where our mayor lives.
it costs to live up there now. You don't
Yep.
live up there for no few dollars anymore.
But it used to be just a gang territories, very
That
very
was
dangerous.
a part of regentrification.
Yep. Yep.
Okay. And it wasn't about being black, it was about them dollars.
Right. Exactly. But
Okay.
when we say gentrification, there's a picture that comes in our mind, right?
Right.
And it's
Absolutely.
usually not us.
You're right. You are
Right.
absolutely right. You're absolutely
Yeah.
right. All right. Well, listen, I want to thank everybody for tuning in to Opinions.
Thanks for joining us, and don't forget February, Black History Month. We're so excited.
That is so right. Girl, I just enjoy talking to you on Tuesdays. It's such fun.
And I enjoy talking to you too, Katie.
All right. Okay, you have just listened to opinions, and opinions are like assholes. Oh, everybody's got one.
That's right.
So I will see you here tomorrow. Oh, y'all gotta tune in tomorrow. I got a treat
Oh,
for
what's
you.
going on for tomorrow?
Tomorrow I have Queen Kiana, and
Oh,
she's a recording artist, and she's getting ready to get ready to do a video.
okay.
And the video is going to be done, I guess, in a theme of like Harlem Night.
Oh, nice. Oh, very nice.
And I've always wanted to play the part of Della Reese because I wanted to be in charge of the girl. But I'm not the Della Reese type because I ain't gonna put on that growing 20 stuff. I'm comfortable in a pair of
and,
jeans.
and you got to have your pistol with you
Girl, what?
because you know that
Okay.
Delarice.
But anyway, she's gonna be on here tomorrow and she's gonna tell everybody how they could be a part of the video shoot.
Oh, nice.
They can be a main character or they can just be in the video. And the
Wow. Okay.
video is going to be shot, I think it's on Friday, the 29th.
Okay.
Uh,
And it's here in Chicago.
It's here in Chicago. I think it's in Lockport.
Okay, Lockport. Okay.
Uh-huh.
Yep. Just
Which is
outside the
about
city.
35 minutes from Chicago.
Oh, fantastic.
And I know you have to be vaccinated and all of that to be a part of it.
Which
And
most of our listeners, hopefully, you are.
okay. But listen, you're gonna really enjoy tomorrow. Tomorrow it's gonna be funny, and I'm gonna play tomorrow. I will play you the video that I created.
Oh, great. Well, I'll be sure to
Uh,
tune in on that one.
All right. If you have a chance, just chime on in. I'll send you a link if you want to come in the screen.
Okay, I might say a little something, something.
Okay.
Give my little 2 cents.
All right. But tomorrow you all tune in. I think we won't be on here till hold on. We won't be on at 5 now. Let me get the correct time because I don't want to thank Nicole, Patella, Mike. I want to thank y'all for logging in to listen to. Now let me go find the time for tomorrow's show because tomorrow's show is gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be a lot of fun. Give me
I
a
definitely will be
second.
tuning in.
Yeah, it's gonna be a lot of fun. She's a lot of fun. She's a good singer.
All right. And while you look for that, I just want to urge everyone, and well,
Mhm.
first of all, thank everyone for joining us and just making sure that you support independent internet radio. We're here to bring the opinions that you may not hear on a mainstream radio station or even on some of the more of the mainstream podcasts. So you're getting it from a different point of view. So definitely please support and thank you for your support.
Okay, so meet me here tomorrow at 6
6 o'clock.
with Queen Kiara. Listen, we're gonna have a lot of fun, and tomorrow I will play this video. And if she don't sound like Della Reese, baby, please.
Oh, I can't wait to see it and hear it.
All right. We're gonna say good night, y'all.
Good night. See you next week.
We're playing some music. Because I know it's never too late.
Take us out with some music, Katie Lowe.
That's Trina Davis, y'all. Not too late. Streaming on most streaming apps. Good night, y'all.
Good night.